Welcome back to the Relationships Made Simple for Men podcast with me, Bryce Bauer. I am here to help you guys out because if you're anything like me, I received no guidance in how to be in a long-term relationship with a woman. And now, after years and years of training and working with over 1,000 men, I know what I'm talking about. I've also been in a relationship for the last 10 years with my wife, Jenny, and I've worked with many women in couple sessions. So I'm listening to what they're saying, and I want to relay that information to you because it matters. There are a few very simple things that men get wrong over and over. And the reason is because if you've been told how you work or how relationships work 1,000 times, and it's wrong, it's going to take some time to unlearn what you thought you knew and to then try on new ways of thinking about things and acting. So, with that said, I'll get right to the point. These are the 5 reasons that your partner is mad at you. The first one is probably the place where I see most men get stuck because it can be very subtle and it has the thousand paper cuts effect. You might do this in little ways all the time and not even realize it. The losing strategy that I'm talking about is blaming her emotions. She has an emotional experience, maybe it's about you or something else, and you make the problem about her and how she feels. So I will give you a common example. Let's say she has some feelings about something that's happening in the world, something political, which is very relevant right now. And instead of catching that she's feeling afraid or concerned or upset, which is really normal, by the way, to have these little misses, you come back with your point of view. And then when she tries to explain further why she's feeling the way she feels, she gets more activated. She's not feeling heard or seen or safe. You make this move. Why are you getting so upset? Which translates to you should not be upset. This is really the last thing that she needs to hear. Now she's feeling really emotionally unsafe with you. She might not even want to talk to you anymore. And in your mind, you've made the problem that she feels unsafe. It's just her. She had big emotions. You're totally calm. And then you might even start arguing about why you always argue. And most likely, what's happening is you're pointing everything at her, which doesn't feel good. And I get that she might be doing some of the same stuff back to you, but it's you who wants to get better at communicating, right? It takes 2 people to run a pattern and only one to change it. So you can change this. And it's worth understanding what's really happening here. I have done a lot of work on this myself. I'm a smart guy. I'm imagining a lot of you out there are really smart too. So I really want you to take this part in. What really happened there is that your wife had a feeling come up and that triggered a feeling in you. Maybe you didn't want her to feel upset. Maybe you wanted to fix it. Maybe you were annoyed and frustrated that you were having your own feelings come up. It touched something. That's the thing to pay attention to and really own. Men get caught up in their minds. They can go on and on about the content. And sometimes that may resolve something externally processing the information. But in a high stakes relationship like a marriage, it probably doesn't fucking matter. What you need to be paying attention to is your own emotional experience and your partners. So as soon as you can catch this, you need to name it. And this can be really hard to do if you haven't practiced it, but I'll give you an example of what it could sound like. So if your wife brings something to you, she says, yeah, I'm just feeling really scared about the current political environment and, this and that's happening. And I think it's just a tragedy. Look for the feeling underneath. There's a few moves you can make here. One is to just ask more questions. What really upsets you about what's happening? What would you like to see be different? It's also helpful to lead in with, thanks for sharing how you're feeling or what you're thinking. Another move is to take a moment to check in with your experience and see if you can connect on that. Yeah, I feel sad about this too, or afraid or concerned. There's probably something that you both share in this. And then you can even ask, do you want me to just listen or do you want to kind of talk this out? Setting an intention for the conversation. These are all moves that you can make. But the worst thing that you can do is just blame her for feeling the way she does. And then to ignore that you feel anything at all and point your finger at her as the conflict escalates. And you probably already know this, right? Like you can tell when whatever you're doing isn't working and making things worse. And the reason that you keep doing it is because you're activated yourself. It can happen in a second, and you don't have the skill or the tools to slow it down and check in with yourself and make some of these moves that I've just informed you on. So I'm not saying that I never get stuck here and I practice this shit every day. These are the moves that will work long term. I'm not saying that it will resolve things immediately, because sometimes you have past baggage, and even trying a new way, your partner might feel a little bit skeptical about what you're doing. But if you can keep doing this, you're going to feel more empowered. You will have a much better chance at co-regulating with your partner, and you won't get stuck in these days-long loops, because that's what really sucks, right? Relational stress impacts all the areas of your life. So this is the first reason, and it's a big one. The second reason that your partner is mad at you is boundary violations. And the big ones that are more obvious are infidelity or lying or hiding, taking money, emotional, physical abuse. And I'll just say point blank that if any of this has happened at any point in your relationship, you're probably going to need to come up with a mantra, and it will sound something like, yes, you're right. I did that. I was in the wrong, and it's okay that you still have feelings about it. That's my advice. If you've done something like this and it comes up, it doesn't matter how long ago it was, use that line. And I have good news, bad news here. If you've done anything that's more extreme, bad news is it will never go away, most likely. You're not going to get over it in the way that I think a lot of men think they can get over things. You might have to talk about this once a year or once a month for a long time. And that is the path to healing. So the good news is you can make progress on this, and people can heal from really extreme things in their relationship. But kind of tying into the first one, if you're putting any pressure on your partner that she should feel differently, she should be over things, we just need to move on, that doesn't work. I just got off the call with a couple yesterday, and they've had some pretty extreme things happen in their relationship. And throughout the call, he said this a few times, I just want to get over this. I just want to move on. And I said, I think you should remove that get over things and move on stuff from your vocabulary completely. And his wife, this kind of surprised me. She got really emotional and was just like, thank you. And she even said that she didn't expect that to come from a man. So you get a sense of just how pervasive and systemic this way of thinking is for men. Maybe it works in your own life. Go ahead. But in romantic relationships, it doesn't. And it's just the reality that your partner might at times feel anger rise and be mad at you for past transgressions. And if we can hold space for that, it doesn't have to go on that long. Sometimes it's just a big wave. It can be a few minutes. And if we can make space, own, not blame her for her feelings, you can engage in the healing process with her together. Okay, that's the second reason. The third reason is that you do not prioritize her. I hear this from a lot of women. Not only do their partners not prioritize them physically, but they also don't prioritize them emotionally. So if you're spending a lot of time working, and whenever you get a chance to go do something fun, you always want to do it with the boys, or all of your shared time together is parenting or doing work projects where the focus is like the project, she's going to start to feel missed and lonely. And a common response to loneliness, what's on the other side of that despair and sadness, is often anger. There's this famous experiment that some therapists did with mothers and their babies that were like 6 months old. It's called the still face experiment. You should look it up. So basically what they did is they had the mothers playing and engaging with the babies. And then what they'd have the mothers do is just go still face, just no emotional expression at all. And what would happen is that the babies would continue to try to engage with the mother, reaching out, laughing, making facial expressions. And after a few seconds, the babies would start to get distressed. They'd look confused, and then often they'd get angry and sad and start crying. And this happened within a matter of like 30 seconds. And what's interesting to me about this is that we still have that same wiring. I mean, we can sometimes mask it better and make sense of it in our heads. But if your partner's feeling constantly missed by you, like you're not paying attention to them and really engaging with them emotionally, she's experiencing a similar kind of distress. And at some point, she will get angry. She didn't sign up for this. In the beginning of the relationship, you might have been very engaged and attentive and curious. And now you're just like a robot. So if you're not taking intentional action to carve out time with her and learning better ways to connect with her emotionally so that she really feels seen and understood and cared for, yeah, she's going to be pissed. And this seems like the theme. If you blame her for feeling the way she does, you're going to lose the game 10 times out of 10. So that's something to think about. I know our lives can be busy. Maybe she's busy too, but secure relationships take work. And I find that couples underestimate how much time they really need to feel connected. A couple vacations a year where you might end up arguing a lot anyways aren't going to cut it. It needs to happen daily in some way, even if it's just a little bit of time. Okay, so reason number 4 is you suck at connecting. Most men do. It's not just you. I know I'm painting with a broad brush, but listen, I've been a man in this world for a while and I'm constantly doing my research. I hang out with a lot of men. We suck at connecting. No one taught us how to do it. Even sometimes when we think we're doing it, we're not really doing it, at least on a deeper level. I'm actually about to go out and play pickleball with some of my friends in the neighborhood. And yeah, we're going to have fun. We're going to connect, ask each other about our days, maybe. But the chance that there's any vulnerability or deeper questions asked is almost zero. Sometimes I will do that, but it rarely happens. And even when someone does bring something up, like there have been some divorces with some of these guys, we don't really talk much about it. It's just the facts. And then maybe a funny comment. Guys just don't know what to do with vulnerability for the most part. Maybe that's not you, but most of the guys I see and hang out with, yeah, what to do about that? The only way that I know how to do this and the way that I've done this is to go learn from other men that do know how to connect. They're out there. Join a men's group, a circling community. Go into your next therapy or coaching session and ask, hey, I want to learn how to connect better. And I don't know if I'm that good at that. Can you show me how to do this? Be humble, be open, keep searching for the right person or people to help you grow and learn. You might learn some by listening to podcasts like this, but you're not going to really know how to put it into practice unless you have real people to do it with. And you can even do this together with your partner if you want. There are workshops and courses out there. Feel free to reach out if you need some guidance. And then finally, I'm going to move on to the 5th one, take a little bit of pressure off you guys. She could be mad at you and it has nothing to do with you. Sometimes that is the case. Maybe there's something happening with her hormones. Women tend to go through this differently than men. The ovulation cycle, menopause, I don't really know that much about it. I just know that it seems a lot different with women. They have bigger ups and downs. She could have her own past trauma. She could have current relational stress with family members and friends. It's possible that whatever she's feeling has nothing to do with you. Even if that is so, go back to the fundamentals. Don't blame her for feeling the way that she does. It's okay to have a boundary if you really feel like she's coming at you and you're just like, hey, I'm trying the moves. I'm trying to be understanding, and this isn't working for me. I do feel like you're coming at me. Every once in a while, I will do that with Jenny. But if your default is to go to defensiveness and avoidance, or fighting, there's nothing wrong with just staying with what's happening and growing your capacity to be with whatever she's feeling. It doesn't mean that you have to take whatever she's saying on as truth, but it's amazing what a little bit of self-regulation and skill work can do. I mean, just imagine this. She comes in and she's just a ball of energy and she's coming with complaints. And you're like, yeah, you're right. I didn't take out the trash. I did forget about that dinner. Sometimes I don't pay attention to you. You're right. And it makes sense that you have big feelings about that. You can do that. So what? You should get used to your ego taking some shots once in a while. You're not going to totally lose yourself or implode or die by taking a little heat once in a while. I think sometimes as men, we have to stop being so fucking fragile. Take in the feedback. Try it on. Maybe she's only 20% right. So own the 20%, whatever. We don't have to make a big deal about this and get out our scorecards. You can be an informed, empowered, relational human being. Life will feel a lot better if you can learn how to do this. So just to run through the 5 reasons that she's mad at you. 1 is you're blaming her emotions. 2 is past current boundary violations. 3 is you don't prioritize her. 4 is you suck at connecting. And 5 is it could be her stuff. Hopefully that's helpful. It is helpful for me to flush some of this stuff out for myself and then being able to put language to it for clients. So thanks for tuning in. Remember, if you do like what I have to say, share, subscribe, like all those things that you do on social media, wherever you're watching this. I'll include contact info in the description, and I will see you next week.